Hello, Teaquilters. Today is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2023, 2024. And it is 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're here for live sew and chat. I say sew and chat because I'm sewing. But let me search for the chat here. Too funny. Make sure my volume is down. All right. So we'll give people a minute or two to come in. I can't decide what zipper. I think I'm just going to keep it all the same just to make life easier. And I need to pull up my design on the machine. And I'm going to do that because this design probably is going to take more than an hour. The pattern combination is too large. We want you to rotate it. That'll be fine. So I'm going to get this started. And we're going to be working on Zippered Bags 1, 2, 3 from Anita Good Design, special edition. I will come back and talk about this because I need to do like 3 or 4 steps, and then it's going to take about, I don't know, 10 to 11 minutes to quilt. So then I'll have time to talk while it's quilting. So let me go ahead and get this started. So let me make sure my thread's not going to come out because I put the hoop in under it. Just need to pull it a little bit the first time. And it's going to give me a placement to put my batting. So we're going to talk about this for people that have embroidery machines. This doesn't look like it's centered in the hoop, but you know, we're going forward. It's like I didn't move it. One thing I am going to do is take it out of the hoop to put my batting in because I'm going to pin it, because otherwise I find in the large hoop, which I'm using my 8x12 hoop, the bigger the pieces are, the more chance they have of moving, puckering. So I am going to put them in here and use some pins to just hold them in the corners. So I'll put it down on 2 sides, and then when I get to the other side, I'll pull it a little bit to give it some tension. And then it's going to quilt over this. Well, it's going to give me another placement line, but I don't want it to pucker. So all I had was a rectangle that's stitched out, which you're not going to be able to see on screen because I'm using pink thread. And then it basically gives you a place. My batting is the same size as my hoop, so I could have just technically laid it in there, but I just do it anyway, just to make sure. So let's see. Let me get out of here and then get back into chat. And because I already knew it wasn't going to give me all the chat. And then let me put in all messages as well. And then I'll start reading once I get this quilting. So I got to trim this batting. So all the batting won't be, well, it really doesn't make any difference on the back. I don't know why they tell us to do that. I'm going to skip it because the back is cut bigger than the front, so it's still going to have batting in the seams anyway, so I'm not going to trim it. But normally you trim your batting, but since they did it a little different, we'll talk about that too. I am not going to trim. I'm going to take it off, take the hoop off the machine, and I'm just going to put my fabric on top so I can get that ready, which is this piece right here. So I had some Cafe scraps laying around. My stand moved for some reason, and so I'm going to use the diagonal stripes on the back. So I'm just, this is what it did. It stitched a line, and technically you would cut that, but it's not necessary in this process. With Anita Good Design, another bag, you would want to trim. They have their backing piece larger than the front, so that's why I'm not trimming, because it's a waste of time. So I'm going to use, taking those pins out I had, I'm pinning this in the same spot. Rotate around so I can put a little tension on the fabric so it doesn't pucker. And then hold it with my thumb till I get the pin in there. And then do the same thing over here. And I got the pins right on the edge. Right on the edge of the frame. You can see the orange flathead pins I have there on each of the 4 corners. On the back, you can look to see if you're going to hit your pins. You can see where my frame is and where my pins are. So I'm okay, because you don't want the machine to hit your pins either. And because this is the large frame and it's taking up almost the entire frame, I don't have room to tape, so that's why I'm using pins. Sometimes I use tape, sometimes I use pins. I probably would use pins anyway because I want to make sure the fabric is taut. I don't want any puckers, so I would probably use pins anyway for this step. So all it's doing is stitching now the outline to tack down this fabric to the frame. And then I'm going to take the pins out just so they're not in the way. They shouldn't be, but I just want to get them out of there. Couldn't get that one in the corner fast enough. So it's going to stop, and then it's going to move so it can go ahead for quilting. Now for quilting, I am using metallic thread by King Star. And to me, it's the best metallic thread. It's not to say that it won't get jammed, but it's better than a lot of the other threads. So I'm going to use King Star thread. I'm going to bypass the center and see if I can do this without having to put it in the tension up here. See if that'll work. The last time I put it in the tension up there, because this is like my second time using the King Star, second project that I've used King Star thread for. Let me take this off. I can't get it to wrap around without it getting wound in my bobbin spool cap. No, not the bobbin, just the spool cap. All right, so we're just going to put this in. I like the extra oomph that it gave to the bag using metallic thread. So it's going to take about 10 minutes for this to quilt the design. And in that time, I can be talking to you guys. All right, so we got in the chat tonight is Linda Denton. She says she will have to go to work at 7:30. Aww. Sue GSD is here. 245 days until retreat. Talking about so long. Nikki B is here. Sandy Agger, Vivian Calvi, Judy Smith, Francis Jackson, Melissa LePage, Carissa Reninger, Dolores Feltz. Let me see. Bonita Nance. Okay, Bonita, I got you. Darcy saying, give T her thumbs up and subscribe. Hit the bell to get notifications. Also, check out our Facebook page, Teaquilts LLC. Make sure that you answer the 4 questions if you're requesting to join the group as well. Pin this message. Remo JS is here. Welcome, welcome. Also, telling you all to hit the thumbs up button. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button for me, please. Joe Carmel Perkins is here. Maddie Barnum, Harriet Susan Franklin, Brenda Foley, Janice Miller, Jason Lewis, Betty Ward, Melina Montoya, I'm sorry, Dee Branson, Ray Mahone, Edna Alston. She says, hello, first time on. That's weird because I felt like I've seen your name before. So that's weird. Got a name similar to someone else then. Quilt Gal's here. Darcy says, those diagonals look great. Yeah, I like the diagonals too, but I didn't want to put diagonals on front and back because I didn't want to I would be concerned if they went the opposite direction. Should they go the same direction, then what's going to happen on the back? So I just copped out and put straight strings on the front. I chickened out. A lot of people are saying welcome to Edna. Thank you guys. Sheila Willis is here. Mary F is here. Anita Scott, welcome to the chat. And Cynthia Shade saying her rent is paid. So thank you, thank you. So, what we're sewing today in the hoop is called Zippered Bags 1, 2, 3 by Anita Good Design. Now, Steve, for many years, I don't know when I started machine embroidering, but I know I got my first Singer CXL. I don't know, I want to say around 2000, the year 2000 or something, I don't know. I can't really remember, but I've always loved embroidery, and I've always made, once I got into embroidery and realized I could make my own labels with it, that really encouraged me to like this. I've gone to quite a few sew-ins for machine embroider, all different types of projects. I've done lace in the hoop, regular embroidery, and I wasn't really impressed with embroidery because that's like the first thing you learn. It's just like doing a single design, and then you're like stuck with this stuff about what to do with it. Didn't know nothing was out there about how to quilt it, and so I started creating some stuff on my own. And then Anita Good Design started coming out with very detailed PDFs on things you could do with the designs as well. So that kind of helped too. But I have never liked just drop and plop with no quilting around my embroidery, which, you know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying I don't like it. So this zipper bags 1, 2, 3 is it's got a lot of pros, and then I have one con. It has 10, is it 10 or 11? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It has 10 different bag shapes, and it says it right up there at the top on the back. 10 different bag shapes, and then it has 11 background quilting designs. And then you can also create your own fabric by doing piecing in the hoop, which I hate. That's why I already just make my string blocks, because it takes so much longer in the hoop to do that. It's faster if you just sew your own string segments and just make your own fabric. And then they've got 50 other embroidery designs, which includes a monogram set, which I like. And then on top of that, you can do a lined bag or an unlined bag. So the 1, 2, 3 comes from picking your bag shape. Number 2, picking your quilting design. And then number 3, telling them whether you want it to be lined or unlined. And then the bonus is you can do piecing in the hoop to make your string blocks, or you can add some embroidery designs, or you can add some monograms. That's all included in here. Or you can even add other embroidery designs that are not included in here. But you have to have you either have to have it loaded onto your flash. I like to do everything in my computer, so I go to my computer software and I add in what I want to add in and go from there. So right now it's quilting the back. As I told you all, it tells you that it's going to make the back bigger than the front. So that's why I didn't trim the batting, because the batting is going to be included no matter if I trim it or not. It's not going to matter. The one con that I hate with this process is that Anita Good Design used to tell you what sizes to cut for each embroidery design or each applique shape. And in this version, and I think this is 2016 version, but they've currently updated it, but I still don't think that they're giving sizes anymore. I haven't purchased any new designs yet. So and that's fine for a typical just straight embroidery, but if you're doing applique or if you're doing a bag, I think you need to know what size fabrics you need to cut. Plus, it makes it a lot faster for you to cut if you're going to do more than one bag. So I had to make the first bag. That's why I have one bag made. I'm going to show you that. And then I had to, you know, in the hoop, had to figure out what those sizes were so I could cut my fabric, say 1.5 inches to 2 inches bigger than whatever was in the hoop happening, okay? So I don't think that's cool, because when you start getting into some of these other shapes, so let me show you the shapes. Those 10 shapes right there. It's like you have to figure out, it's not the size of the bag is here. It tells you, like for my large rectangle bag, which is what I'm making, that the finished size is 10.6 by 6.7. So I cut a piece 12 by 9, I think, for the back, because they said the back was going to be bigger than the front. Then the other part is the front has 2 pieces, so I don't know what size to cut the front. So it doesn't make sense for them not to give us any measurements, I guess is what I'm saying. Sue GSD says, packing for vacation feels like I'm going across the continent. So much stuff for just a week. Edna says, thanks to everyone. Michelle the Quilter has come in. Welcome. Minnie Dula, Patricia Priest, and Phyllis G. Welcome, welcome. Betty Bailey is here. She says she's here for some company and to learn, wanting to make some bags. Yeah. And Sheila D is here. And Claudette Bettis. Hey, Claudette, wasn't expecting you on a Wednesday, girl. So that's my one con, is that they didn't tell you what size to cut. So I think what they're doing now is just having you just place fabric in instead of cutting, and then you don't have any so-called waste. But I'd rather have a little bit of waste, like cutting mine 1.5 to 2 inches bigger, so that I can cut multiple bags at one time. When I'm going to do bags, I mostly am doing more than one at a time. So I like to know my cut sizes so that I can be efficient when it's time for cutting. Because if I don't know them, if I don't know the sizes, it makes it difficult for me to cut more than one at a time. So it's just weird to me. It looks like our bag is just about, it's on the last row of quilting, and now I'm going to show it to you in the hoop because it's going to come out anyway. It's ready for that to come out, and we're going to go to hooping number 2. So one thing about in the hoop projects, when you have a part 1 and a part 2, or when they're telling you to trim, that type of thing, you do not you do not want to I'm trying to get to the right page. Hold on. I just got through stitching the back because I wasn't even paying attention. I was just doing it because, you know, most of the steps are the same. But you do not want to take it out the hoop until it's completely done. It's finished that hole. This was a 4-step process. It gave me a placement line for my batting. Then it stitched my batting down. Then I put my fabric on top. It stitched the outside of the batting, and I could have quit. You don't have to quilt. You could just skip that step. But of course, if the quilting is already there and they've given us 11 different designs, we're going to quilt. So I'm using the same quilting that's in my thumbnail. So you can see it here, and I use that gold King Star metallic thread. And then this is what it looks like on my underside. What I have hooped here, normally when I'm making bags and they're not quilted, I use tearaway stabilizers so that I can tear it out because I wouldn't have all of these quilting lines. I could have used tearaway stabilizer still, but I would have had to go in here and tear out all of that paper, and nobody has time for that. So I have just used a mesh stabilizer. And that's what I hoop. So I'm going to take this out because it's now done. They tell you to square this up 1/2 inch around the outside edge. Since it's already bigger than we need, I'm not going to do that either. Because this is bigger than I need. I'll square it all up at the end when I get it all done. Because why waste my time? Whoops, I really don't want to undo my hoop. I just want to take this out because then my hoop will be already set for the next piece of applique. So there we go, our finished piece. It has nothing on the back because we're making a lined bag. If I was not making a lined bag, you would be seeing the stabilizer on the back. And I do really recommend you use a mesh stabilizer if you are doing an unlined bag with quilting. All right, so I'm gonna have to, whoops, I'm pulling off the roll instead of, I got my roll back there. I have a piece already cut, but I was pulling the wrong piece out. So we don't want that. We don't want it to get caught in the machine, so that's why I re-rolled it back up. And I'm gonna have to be right back. I gotta use the floor because this hoop is so big. So, gonna sort of kind of get it kind of centered here so I know it's in the right place before I go to put it down. And just using the floor. All right. I don't like this hooping though. I'm going to take it out. It's really close up on this top. All right, do it again. It was really close up on one side. We're going to be putting in a lot of quilting stitches, so we want to make sure it's centered in there. All right, that's better. I just want to make sure, since I'm using my floor and I got plenty of strings, that nothing's on my stabilizer. And nothing's pulling, so we're fine. I'm going to put this back in, and I'm going to take out my metallic thread and go back to just this pink. We're going to be switching threads quite a few times. So it's going to stitch me another placement line grid. Once I pull up the designs, so I'm going to go into embroidery edit, because I'm going to pull up two designs. I'm going to pull up my front, and I'm also going to pull up the design unlined or lined, and I'm using lined because that's what I want. So I'm going to pull up those two files. That's why it's not just one file, but they can be in the same hooping. So rotate 90 degrees, set, and then we're going to add the lined back, rotating it 90 degrees, and say set. Now we can go ahead and sew. The other thing that I did on the front is I went into, on software, I went in and created a rectangle, because it's not a square, because that's not the size of my label, so that the machine can stitch my label on. When I've done other bags, I have pre-prepped my label onto the thing so that I didn't have to worry about trying to get it on there after it was already made in the hoop. So I went and made it now on this particular one that I can put my label in at the embroidery machine. So we're going to start sewing this part. Got a little piece of fuzz. So that's going to stitch. Let's see. And I'm trying to get through the chat. See who else has come in. Sheila D says she loves King Star thread. I have all of the holiday colors. Yeah, I might have got just maybe 4 or 5, because I think I might have holiday too, because I think I got green, blue, silver, gold, and red. I think those are the only colors I have, but I think I'm gonna go get more colors. Remo says numbers aren't equaling the thumbs up, so that means go hit that thumbs up button for me, guys. T Roberts is here. People are saying that the fabric, this right here, is beautiful. Thank you, thank you. I'm not trimming a thing. It's like, why waste my time? I can do all the trimming at the end. Sharon Lewis is here. Welcome, welcome. And Mary talking about, I don't think I could bend over and do that on the floor. Girl, you do what you gotta do. You got limited space, girl. And I'm live. It's not the prettiest view, but it's what I have. Minnie says, T, do you know anything about Prodigy long arm quilter? No, I don't. Have you Googled information on it? I don't know that one in particular. I don't think it was one that was on my radar. My only concern and people still do what they want, because this is just my recommendation, because I've had experience on machines, different long arm machines. My only recommendation, well, my first recommendation is to I want to make sure I put the right thing on here, y'all. Yeah, because I get to talking to y'all and I'll forget what I'm doing. Okay. This goes with that. This goes with this. The other thing, they tell you to put your batting. I'm going to put my zipper down first. They tell you when it's time to put your fabric, they tell you to put your batting down at the same time. And I did that on my test, but I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to just slide the batting underneath. I'm just trying to make sure I've got, okay. I must have cleaned my area up because I made 2 bags that I, and I have no tape up here. It's like, oh, I know the tape is not even in the bag because I took it out. I took the tape out. And I got tape up there, but I wanted to use, for this step, I want to use this this clear tape so I can see it and not masking. And just sit it temporarily back right there. Now they gave me a line to put my zipper down. And talking about zippers, on the second bag that I made, I used the number 5 zipper, which is not the standard size we normally buy from YKK. YKKs are number 3. And I'm telling you, the presser foot was leaning right on the edge of that thing. I had to pull the zipper all the way to the end. When they had told me to pull it to the center for that particular step, I had to pull it all the way to the end, and I'm scared it was going to come off from the vibration. But yeah, so this is not made for number 5 zippers. No, no, no. I just want to hold it a little bit to start. It's going to back up and then come forward. I always tape my zipper pull out of the way, especially if my zipper is only like 2 inches or so bigger than what I need. I tape that zipper pull toward the outer edge of the hoop. But yeah, I can show you some of that now. I'll show you, talk about these bags when I get this quilting or something. So it's doing the other side of the zipper now. Let's see. But I don't know anything about the Prodigy. I'm wondering if it's some kind of, who bought out Anita? Who was under Anita Good Design? I can't remember now. Not Anita Good Design. Tin Lizzy. I'm wondering if it's the same person, that the same system that was under Tin Lizzy. You don't want to buy a system, in my opinion, that's less, well, to me, you want it more than 18 inches. When they sell you a long arm, and most, at the time, the average quilt blocks were 12 inches, because when people did sampler quilts, things like that, most of the design patterns when I started out was in 12-inch format. So if you have a lot of quilts to quilt that you're going to use 12-inch blocks, an 18-inch reach will not allow you to quilt a 12-inch block. It'll start out letting you quilt it, but as it starts to roll on your take-up bar, it gets a little tight. So I do, because you can get it, so you can say I have a long arm and you can machine quilt. Yes, it will do that. You just can't quilt a whole block at one time. No big deal. But if you somebody that you feel like you're gonna get want to do more, that's gonna be very limiting when it's time for you to quilt a 12-inch block and you've got a bed size quilt. That's the only thing. All right, so next step is I'm going to take this tape off for a minute because we're going to put fabric on here. on the back and the front. Where are my pieces? I thought I had them here. Okay, I've been moving stuff around, looking for stuff. So we're going to take our front, which is this red, and then our lining, which is also a red, and a piece of batting. They tell you to put your batting and lining right sides together, and then you're going to place it on here together. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just place my fabric. So this is going to be my top, and I'm just centering my fabric. And I am going to use some masking tape and wasn't quite long enough, so we'll get another piece, and we're going to tape it down. And I like to just give it, I'm putting it with the back side of my zipper as well, and I'm just giving it so it's a little taut so it doesn't pucker under there. I've got the right side down. I haven't read, anymore. That was 2 days ago when I did this. So we're going to pray it's right. And then we're going to do the same thing minus the batting that they're telling us to put down. I'm just going to center some fabric. And I want to make sure that my zipper pull is back the other way. And I'm going to also tape this down. Right side to the zipper, because we're going to be flipping it. Then when I get to the other side, make it a little taut. I don't have the other tape ready, so we'll do this. And down here. And it's going to stitch right across the top here. Putting these 2 pieces of fabric to my zipper, and I just want to make sure my tape don't roll, because that could happen sometimes. All right, and let that go. Now, the reason I don't put it down is because when I flip the fabric over, if it has the batting, it's got 2 layers of batting, and it makes it puffy. The stitching does come through and pushes it down at the last step, but I just don't think it's necessary. So I'm just going to, when I flip this over, I'm just going to lay this underneath when I lay it down. So. Now the next step is I'm going to leave my back piece down. No, I'm going to leave my back piece down because I don't want, it's going to do some quilting. It's going to tack the top and do some quilting, and I don't want that on the back. So I'm going to remove my tape. Hi, Paula S. And then I'm going to flip this up, and I'm just going to finger press. And then I'm going to use that tape again to tape it right back down. Also taping that zipper pull. So just making sure I have a little tension on it so it's not going to pucker. And so this is what I have in the frame on the front. I pulled the fabric back once I stitched it. On the back, it's still down. And now it's going to stitch the top. Whoops, got to put the thing down. It's going to stitch the top. Whoops. You know what we forgot? The batting. Let's take this out. See? That's why they tell you to put it in here. But I'm not going to do it. Because I feel like it's too thick. So I'm just going to cut a piece. I just cut a strip. Like I said, I don't have any measurements from them on what size to cut anything. I feel like the pieces I have here could be cut smaller. When I did another bag, I did cut them smaller, but this one was already cut, the first set that I cut. I'm trying to get out this little tack stitch they put in here. Hold on. Got my embroidery scissors here. And I just lay it up against this line. And then I'm just going to put one pin up here to hold it. Hold the batting in, because it's only going to stitch an outline. So it's not going to do a lot of stitching. And normally you wouldn't even have the pin. Oops, I do want to put some tape back on here. It's on my frame. Yeah, because I always want to just be watching that zipper. That's all. And then this is going to just stitch the top part down, and then it's going to quilt it after that. And that's when I'm going to change threads again. See, I can use this batting again. I cut it 3 inches. That's too big for the top. But it's not as poofy as it was when I put the batting, sew on the batting, and then fold the batting back. It's not as tight. And then if you put it down, you could trim, but then I'm trimming, so I'd rather not trim. So that's why this is really tight. It's like not letting me out of here. So let me show you that stitch. This is actually like the top of the bag, like that. So I just put my batting in and then just let it hang there. Okay, I didn't have to take this out. I just wanted to show you. My next step is going to quilt the top. And so since I'm using that gold thread, I'm going to go back and thread back to the gold thread, because I don't want to do regular stitching. Hope I can get this back in here. It's like really tight. Really tight over here. They got the frame all the way at the end. Here we go. They got the frame all the way at the end, at the top up there. But we want to change threads now to the gold, because we're going to do the quilting for the top. And this top is probably like 3/4 of an inch. It's like, come on, Anita. Okay. Didn't thread. Let's thread the needle. Alrighty. And then I want to pull the tail under my hopper foot on this quilting, because it's going to show. And I don't want it all tangled up in there. So I'm going to hold it. It's telling me my upper thread may not be threaded correctly. We shall see. It's quilting right now. So this is the bag that I made, and I put one of my charms on that Joe Cormel gave me, and I got a quilt of hers I want to show you guys too. But this is the bag, and on the back is where I did the diagonal strings. On the front, I did the straight strings, and then on the inside, you don't see the quilting. Oops, I got stuff in here. you don't see the quilting because of how you keep the lining from underneath while it's doing the quilting. So that's why you don't see the quilting. And I also added my tag in the hoop. Now the second one I'm going to show you, it's not perfect. On here it was perfect. I don't know why. I think because these are handmade, that every tag is not exactly the same size, although it might look like it to our eye. But when you get into something that's a minute piece of machinery, then it knows that it ain't the same size. So this was my line bag. And then I went and made one out of cork. Remember, I bought this whole roll of cork and I haven't done a thing with it. So I said, I wonder if I can do this in cork. So that's what I did. But notice that it didn't do my tag perfect, but the stitching is way better than I would have done. It's just not centered in there correct, but it still looks good. And then on the inside, it is not lined. So you see that mesh stabilizer with the quilting stitch there. Now, me personally, I don't care if my quilting shows in my lining or not, because it's just like a regular quilt. But most bag makers, they don't have their linings quilted. I am not getting chat comments. Soon as I turned on all chat, it didn't give me it's not giving me the messages anymore. It does that to me all the time. So I didn't even know you all were talking to me. Oh, Minnie says thanks. So you're welcome. Confused by process. Machine connected to the internet. How's the pattern connected? On a flash drive. This is not like if you're doing beginner one-on-one transfer, this is not that. I'm just showing you an in the hoop project. It's on a flash drive right here that's in my machine. Now your machine can be hooked up. Mine can be hooked up to this to my computer, to a laptop. Some machines that are newer now, my machine is not. Some newer machines you can Bluetooth in as well. But my two, I think my three, because well, I got four. I got 3 embroidery machines that I can use for embroidery. One machine, my XL1000, you can't use it anymore because of software. But I have the Elagio has a 3.5 floppy disk. I still have disk. I have an external disk drive. I could still machine embroider on that if I want. And then the Bernina and this and the FOF all can take flash drives, USB, and then go from there. All right, so let me show you what this looks like from the front and the back. This is the front. Put that pretty gold stitching on there. On the back, the fabric was still down. So now I'm going to pull that all up on the back. And we're going to put down our bottom pieces. While we're back here. So I'm just going to pull this up and tape it so that it's out of the way. And when this machine quilts, I'm going to open up Joe Carmel's quilt. She sent a quilt for quilting. A top for quilting. And then I'm just going to wrap this around my frame in the middle just to keep it out of the way. Like I said, I could definitely have cut these pieces smaller, but I didn't know what to cut, so I cut 3 inches. I still cut 2 at a time. I didn't even know what to cut. All right, I got to get the thread out of there. So I'm just going to go ahead. I don't know if it's going to be my next step, but I'm going to go ahead and put my lining piece down now since I'm back here. Let me see where it's going to stitch. Let me check the book because we don't want any mistakes. Let me check. Woo-wee. Okay, so line bag, we stitch that part. And then remove from the hoop and fold the top lining piece up. Yeah, so I thought so. So we're adding in our bottom now. Secure with tape, which I did. And then it says with the back side of the hoop, add your lining fabric. Okay. I was right. Just want to make sure. More tape. So I put one piece down and then I just pull a little bit on the other piece before I put it down. Just to make sure. I'm going to move these out of the way for a minute. We'll come back to those. Because I got to put the lining piece on here, on the bottom part on here. I'm not going to put my batting again. They told you to put your batting. I'm just not going to do it. And I'm just centering my fabric in between the two places. So they're going to tell you to, at the end, I think we ended up squaring up to just a 1/4 inch. So it didn't even stay a half. Ended up being a 1/4 at the end. So got one piece down. I'm going to pull a little bit and then tape the other side. So I have a little tension, reduce my chance of getting some puckers. And then we're going to put this back in here and it's going to stitch this down. I want to make sure this back piece is up. So for temporarily, I'm just going to fold everything over here so I can put my hoop on. And then open it all back out gently. Okay, we got gold thread. We don't want that because we're piecing. I don't want to piece with the gold thread. I just want to use decorative stitches. So let's do that. And then I like to just it's kind of scary because you got all of these seam allowances when you piece it. I'd be so scared that the foot is going to get caught. That's the only thing that scares me. Claudette Hall is here. Hello, hello. Welcome to the chat, Claudette. Maddie says that's pretty. Thank you. Hi, Carol Williams. Welcome. Deborah Holloway is here. That's some pretty bags. Yeah, I love this metallic thread. Now, I don't know if it's only because I'm using gold, so I do need to. I've used other colors. I do know that. So remember, we got to keep the back out of the way of the future quilting that's coming. So I'm going to take off this tape, fold this down, but I'm going to insert my batting piece. So put it right up next to the line. I just didn't want my batting doubled. That's all. Okay. Get that in here. Pull down. I'm adding some tension again. And this time I'm going to be using pins to hold because it's longer and thicker. So I'm just going to use some pins to hold that tension. Pull this side down. My back is still this way. Trying to keep it out of the way. Matter of fact, I'm going to temporarily just pin it up here with this pin I got. And then I'm going to come over here, lay this down, pull a little bit for tension, and put another pin in a space where I know it's not going to quilt. If you're not sure from the front if it's going to quilt in that spot, put your pin in, turn it to the back, and look at it to make sure your pins are out of your registration areas. So this is what I'm putting back in. 4. I think I'm one step ahead for the gold thread. No, I'm not using gold. I'm using pink still. Because it's just going to base that down for me. And then I could technically take the pins out. It's giving me a message about my machine not being threaded, but I just wanted to get rid of it. Because it's not true. Except that it is now. Because I hit it when I put it in there, apparently. I find on the Elissimo, like when it first starts, after it cuts, sometimes it does not, the thread don't stay in the needle. I find normally it does better when I have a lot of layers in here, but not today. It only did it one time though. Everybody can mess up once. I'm gonna take this pin out so I don't have to worry about it when it's coming back. But it looks good. Next step's gonna be quilting and I can talk. All it's doing is just tacking the bottom part down of the bag. So it's just stitching like this part here to tack that fabric down. And the next step is going to be quilting. We're at 5 minutes now when it goes to quilting. So it's saying it's going to take 7 minutes to quilt the design. So we got to change the thread. I'll do that later. You want to get started because we got 7 minutes. And then I'm going to pull this thread a little bit and put it under the foot so I can hold on to it. And I got some fraying in my seams. So we'll cut all of those. You know, they're string blocks. So the string blocks I find have the most threads to snip. I don't know why I'm back there. I don't want them to be quilted in. They're harder to pull out if they're quilted in. And it's all in the same row, except for one. All right. Put this over here. I'm gonna roll up this thread. All right, so let's see. Kim says she loves the cork. Yeah, I bought a whole thing of cork. I'm like, girl, you better do something. So I cut off one 13-inch piece, and then it was enough for me to cut 2 bags. I got another cork bag. Pieces just laying back there, but I haven't sold it. But yeah, I like it. I couldn't decide what zipper I was gonna put in here, so I ended up pulling a lot of zippers. Maybe I'll put blue on this next cork bag because I use number 5 zip on here, and the presser foot was laying on the zipper, and I was so scared it was gonna get caught. That was not peaceful and relaxing, so I'm not doing that again. So we'll just use these store zippers that I'm trying to get rid of so I can go to all zippers by the roll. But these are so cute. I just really like them. So, they're pretty. Oh, let's open up Joe Cormel's box. We got about 5 minutes now. Trying to make sure her stuff ain't on the other side. I didn't bring a box cutter in here. You know you're getting old when today I was out doing errands. I'll talk about one of my errands. But all of a sudden I realized that my elbow, the back of my elbow was hurting. I'm like, what in the world? Her quilt is 88 inches square, so she put the 4-inch border on it. So it'd be 88 and a half edge to edge right now. She's got Mrs. Teaquilts on here. So I guess my husband is Mr. Teaquilts. Oh, look at that, pretty butterflies. Pretty, pretty. She says enclosed. I saw this fabric in Portland. She says, hello, lady. As you know, I had fabulous time at retreat, and this was a fun R2D2 quilt to make. It's called D2M because her, Kevin, Tucker, and Jason are confusing y'all. She says, thank you for the inspiration, and I will definitely make it again. Yay! Enclosed, I saw this fabric in Portland. I thought immediately of you. I hope you can use it for binding or some other project, Joe. Joe Cormel. So thank you. So we look at the fabric first. I got a gift. Haven't even done any work. Ooh, ain't that pretty? It's a digital print, I think. It feels, if it's not, it may not be. It feels so smooth that I thought it was a digital print. But on the back side, I can see fabric grain is not white. But it is really pretty. Look at that. So that's the back, but very vibrant colors. Girl, I don't know about no binding, but it sure be cute as a bag. Oh my goodness, that's pretty. It'll be pretty in some kind of tote, a whole, I don't know, probably a yard. If I quilted a yard on the By Annie stuff, I probably could make a few things with it. So thank you, Joe Cormel. I haven't even done any work. I'll put it over there. This was the other zipper I needed to put up. I couldn't decide if I want to use pink, blue, or green. I was going to use blue or green, and then I'm like, girl, just go ahead and use the red. You'll just have two identical bags, sort of, because the fabrics are different. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. So this is her, I'm not going to open this all up, but this is her D2M. I'm just going to show you a couple blocks here. Here's one. Gorgeous off of that gray. This is number 2. She used 2 grunge prints with her cave prints. And then she has something very similar to this in coloring for her backing. I'm sure it's a 108. So very pretty, Joe Cormel. When I get you on there, I've been still die cutting. Peggy took some pictures at my lecture. They're not very high content. Like some of them are a little blurry. Like this, she took them at a lower resolution because she don't know anything about that. You know, only us content people know about that. And so I will still put that out. It's going to be maybe a 3 to 5 minute video just showing you some of the quilts that I show. She didn't take pictures of everything. but I will make sure that I do that. But yeah, people talking about Joe Cormel's quilt is just gorgeous. See? Awesome fabric combination. So looking forward to that. I'm seeing what she gonna pick to put on it. So I'll send her some suggestions. She didn't put anything. I thought she was gonna have something in the card. I'll see what she wants. Something floral and spacey, if I got it. And then I know Joe Cormel likes her quilts to not be quilted tightly. She likes loosely quilted quilts. So we'll find her something for that. All right, we just got through with quilting. We will have to come back to this. We're going to leave this thread in. We're going to stitch my label down with this thread. Okay, I dropped my little tag. Do I still want to use this tag, or do I want to get another color now that I'm changing the zipper? Y'all, I done already took my bath. I'm ready for bed. I'm in pajamas today. All right. Oh, I'm gonna have to it's stitched down twice, so we're gonna stop this and stitch. I didn't put a stop. I thought I had went back and I corrected it, but I thought I went back and changed it, but it's not showing up. Let's see what a red label looks like. So we're gonna go back and say +1 and then +100. Maybe. Well, let's go -100, say +10. Okay, -10. All right, and then I'm gonna need some tape, because we can't just lay this in there. That's what's in here, it's tape. See, this little bag coming in handy, y'all. I like my bag. And I'm just going to go diagonally through it. I'm not going to go all 4 sides, just diagonal to hold it. Cut. So, take that piece of tape off because I'm going diagonally across to put the other piece on first, and then cut that. All right, so this is just some basting tape to hold stuff in place, where if I put down tape, it'll stitch through the tape and then I'll have to peel the tape off. But if I use this basting stuff, it's underneath, it'll hold it in place. You could also use glue, I guess. I'm trying to make sure I get enough. Get up here. And then slide just a little bit past. All right, I'm gonna pull this, hold it if I can. And start it back up. I didn't put a color stop. I put a stop, but I didn't put a color stop. So I got to take my basting out because I couldn't figure out where it stopped. I got to take a few stitches out. Whoops, my thread broke. That happens every once in a while. -10, -10, -1. All right, and then we'll rethread it. And especially with metallic thread, you know, there's a possibility that you're gonna have some issues, especially the more layers that you're putting on. So I keep forgetting that I got a thread thing here. I keep wanting to pull it. So it's doing like a bean stitch. So I'll pull out my little threads later. I'm not going to worry about them now. I will cut my thread tails. Uh-oh. I got to get this thing off. I'm going to go -1 so I can get this hoop into the middle. Because it's hard to get off when it goes all the way back. And we need to put our stuff up because we got too much stuff out. Keep everything organized. All right, because we got to now pull our back down because we've quilted. Take all the tape off from where it's holding the back up. We're going to pull this down. And I'll pull out the extra threads. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I backed up too far. I don't have a color stop, so I didn't know where to stop. And I didn't want to overshoot it. So I undershot it, and I have some stitches to take out. But that's better than not having stitches. Okay. I'm going to put one more piece on here in the middle because I want a little bit of tension right there to pull that down. So now I just pull my back down, and then on the front here you can see where I backed up, and you can see my basting stitch under that should have been underneath. It's on top, so I'll just pull out that. It's about 20 stitches maybe, if you can see it. I gotta cut this thread though. It was in that top right corner. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that out. And across this top. This is a cork label too. So I find cork holds imperfections like scratches, anything that touches them, dirt. They collect everything and just keep it. I found that out from making my when I made my fanny pack to go on my trip. Anything got on it, it was gonna show. It rub up against something dark, it shows. If it's a light color. I got a little hoop burn on here from my foot. It didn't do it over here. Yes, it did. I just didn't notice it. It's like it took some of the black ink and rubbed it down because it's thick. And so it's got a lot of layers. So, but yeah. But it's pretty still. Where are we stitching, girl? I can't even see. I think we can take out right now the gold thread, I think. I think it's just giving me some tacking stitches, which is weird because it's in the same spot as my corners. I guess if your stuff moved or something, he's just giving you new lines to line it up. But I didn't need these tacks he's about to give us. It might also stitch the top and bottom seam, but I have to see. It would be in pink if it do. I'm just gonna let it go. We gotta say +1 because I'd -1 before. It's just tacking in the corners where you're gonna place the piece that I got buried down here. So this is going to be coming soon. You know that pretty back? We're going to be pinning that down. But it's in the exact same space as my corners already, so I didn't understand that. But they're there. Just in case. Maybe if you just used a solid piece of fabric, maybe they wouldn't be there. I don't know. But they're there for me. And now it's going to stitch. Remember, we have the back lining pieces have not been stitched since they've been flipped underneath of the tops. So I got to now stitch that down. So that's what's next. It's going to do the top and then go to the bottom, probably in 2 different steps. And it may not, I knew it looked like it was unthreaded. That's the baby lock thing. Whenever it gets, it still didn't thread. Put you in there. All right, needle down. Do I need to? No, let me pull you back up because I might need to pull you a little bit. Just give the thread a little pull. It just comes out sometimes when it's after it does a thread cut and then it starts back stitching. It sometimes comes out. Diamond in the Rough is in here. She's been sick a bit, but I watch after lives. Very pretty fabrics. Thank you. Hey, Deborah Sims Brown. Melissa LePage. People saying still her quilt's pretty. And Joe Carmel says thanks to everybody. Bonita says, I'm sorting fabric from all my travels this year. Just found my 2 blocks of D to the M. All right. So now this is where we're going back and forth from threads because now it's going to stitch the straight line that's right next to the zipper. I'm going to go in and like edit this pattern because I'm going to put it right after it stitches. Well, I think he's trying to get it on top though of the back part. So, okay. So I understand now why it's there. I don't like doing all this thread changing. See, it still did it. Minus. And it's not because it's the metallic. It's just the baby lock is just picky like that. I got to remember sometimes to pull it as it gets thicker. I got to pull it. And I didn't. Pull it. Now you can go. It's so pretty though. Teaquilts, sometimes it would be great if you would put your cameras over your embroidery machine. I don't even know how to do zoom and switch cameras. That's what I need lessons on is Streamlab. I don't know how to do it. And then I don't know like which cameras people are using to do that. So I don't have very much space. If I need a tripod, we're going to be in trouble because I have no space for that. So now it's going to stitch. I'm just going to pull it. I'm going to leave this thread in here because it's just going to tack down the back bottom lining to the front. So it's just tacking that part down. So you have your bag and then you open up the zipper and you've got the inside. That's what it's doing now. This is the back that I'm going to be putting on. And then this is the back lining, which I think I should have put on. Not yet. Maybe I should have put this on too. We'll see in a minute. Because I'm not reading, I'm just stitching. I think I put this on next, my back lining, when I put the back on. I put the front on first, I think, and then they asked me to put the lining on the back. We'll see in a minute. Now it's going to stitch the top. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to have it on. I'm okay. Because we haven't even opened our zipper yet. So don't let me forget that part. I have made a few bags. Like, I've made a lot of bags in the hoop. Like, probably in my time, I probably have made at least 70 bags in the hoop. I probably have left about 3 times. I probably didn't get that zipper open. But I figured out how to save that bag, because there is no way in the world I was finna throw all that work away. We're after 8. I'm sorry. I just not realized that. But I'm talking, showing stuff, sewing, threads breaking. When I did it here, it took me 48 minutes by myself. Everything takes longer on the live chat. So I'm sorry about that. I thought I could do it. So now we're going to put this on top of the top, and I do take it out of the hoop for this step, even though it's bigger. These are cable. The quilting on here is cables. Let me show you again. And I'm going to try to line them up as best I can. I'm not trying to be perfect with it, but I want to be lined up as best I can so my cables match from front to back, like the rows match. Not the cables themselves, but the rows match. So I just kind of look at it and see where I want to put this. So if you're up here, yeah, just long as my rows, they're not going to match up as far as the cables, but I would like for my rows to be matched up. So that's good enough right there. And then because I don't want this to move, I'm going to use a pin. And do the same thing over here. We got quite a few layers now. And I'm going to also go back to my regular pink thread as well. We don't want to do this with metallic. And it's going to stitch this front right sides to, I got my back on my front, right sides together. It's going to stitch completely around, close everything up. But I'm going to open this zipper first. To the middle. Put the zipper in the middle about. So I don't have to worry about this. So open that zipper. And I'm just making sure, let me look at this on this side, because I want to make sure my lines are not crooked. See, and they can be moved a little bit. Right there. Yeah, see, they were just a little crooked. It's like probably nobody will notice, but if I can prevent it, I'll do it. If it happens anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm still don't have my back lining piece on yet. It's the last step. We got 2 more steps to go around this bag completely. But we're going to take off this metallic thread. And we're going to thread the, I've been just piecing with the pink. It don't matter what color you piece with. It doesn't show. And I got white just embroidery thread in the bobbin. I'm making sure I give it a little room. Stitching the rectangle all the way around. Thank you, Remo. Monty Pep says her rent's paid. Guess who? Nancy is here. Hey, Nancy. Judy Smith. Good night, Judy. Says she has a headache. Betty says the gray between the bright prints is a great choice. She's talking about Joe Carmel. She must be behind in the chat. Melissa says, I like it when you run overtime. It's more to see. Only thing I gotta eat though. Only thing I ate today was some grits, okay? I had leftover grits from yesterday. I made me breakfast for dinner yesterday. And so I ate those because I was too lazy after I got back home. Paula M says, love the zipper bag. Thank you, thank you. We got one last piece of fabric, and then we'll have something that looks very similar to this. And I won't worry about adding on a zipper pull. This one came from Joe Carmel. Look at that. Joe Cormel gave me all kinds of zipper pulls and trinket type things like this at retreat. I come in and it'll be stuff sitting there. And it was like the first time I'm like, oh, okay, somebody gave me a gift. I won't worry about it. Second time I'm like, okay, who's putting the stuff on my desk? Should have known it was her. Diamond in the Rep says, I cut a few teeth out of a closed zip before. Cut a few teeth? Oh my gosh. Sean says, I made breakfast for dinner tonight. Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, welcome. All right, last step. So I'm just going to show you the inside. You see how you can see the quilting that's here, and then look inside and see that rectangle that's inside the quilting. That's how much bigger the back is to the front. And then this is what it looks like on the back. None of the quilting is showing. Although, like, again, I don't think most quilters will care. All I got to do now is turn this over and put my back piece, my lining piece, right side together. And this time it's going to stitch around. But when it does it, I'm just making sure I'm centered over my pieces, because everything is cut bigger because I didn't know what to cut anyway. So I'm going to, I got tape. I'll just use the tape. I'll reuse the tape. I do sometimes put pins under my hoop. I don't like it all the time because a pin could come out while it's moving. So we're just going to stick with the tape. And I can add a pin or two up on top as a safety net. And pull a little bit too. Forgot that part. Let me pull that other piece of tape up and pull it a little bit. We just want a little bit of tension on it so that it's not going to pucker. You don't want to be pulling it super tight, but you know, you want some tension on it. And then I'm just going to go to the front and just add a pin in the middle where I know it's not going to stitch, because I got my line showing. And then one over here, just so I know nothing's going to come apart. And I'm going to slide this back on. Last time, now it's going to do the last stitch where it's going to leave an opening for turning. And then we're going to be done. Put those pins up. Diamond in the Rough says fried grits. You know, as many years as I've eaten grits, I've never had fried grits. Don't know why. I just haven't done it. I just have not done it. I don't know why I haven't, because I've had plenty of opportunities. But I just go right on ahead and put just a little bit of water into the grits that I saved and just put them back into the pot. Trying to see what's coming in just to make sure. Okay, so nothing right now. Nothing that I need to handle right now. But these are so pretty. Let me get this string off of there. Where you come from? Just strings just finds me. I got them everywhere. Okay, I've been quilting for too long. So this one, you can tell where the corners popped out better. This one, I don't know if I didn't get, like, the corners are kind of rounded, like. I don't know if it's because of all the batting that's in there or what, but we're going to find out because we're finna turn this second one that's like this. This one doesn't have any batting. But I wanted to make one out of cork with no lining, no batting to see if it would stand up, and it does. So I really like that. I think the cork would also be cute too if you had somebody you can put, if you were putting your tag on the front, then you could put their monogram, or you could decorate the back with something. A lot of people tend to decorate the front with something, but you know, us people, us quilters, our makers, we got to put our labels on them. So we tend to put those on the front, but I guess you could put your label on the back too. I'm gonna go home because I'm gonna need to lay this big old hoop somewhere. So we need to put this machine in position to be able to do that. Because it's big. All right. So I got all the tape. It's taped to the frame down here. And throw all of this tape away. So this is what it did. It stitched that lining on there, and then it left an opening for turning. All right. I just want to sit this over here. That's why I needed to push it back, because otherwise it's not going to work. I don't have a lot of space here to trim. Now, when I'm trimming, I do trim from the back because I can see the lines. I won't get it mixed up with all the extra lines that's out here. So I do trim from the lining, the back lining piece. Get a rotary cutter. And I got tape under here still. Still seeing tape. May not be the last one. Just gonna do the sides first just because. And I'm trimming a 1/4 inch because I don't want, and I almost recommend, this thing has been stitched around that square so many times that it's secure enough. You can do like 3/16 in between 1/4 and 1/8 because that's less bulk you're gonna have. So I'm gonna go right in between that. 3/16. It's not, you don't have to pay attention to that part. Like, as far as like being perfect with it, just in between there somewhere. And I'm sitting down, so I'm gonna have some issues going through all these layers and a zipper. But it's like, I don't even want to throw my quilted fabric away. Girl, let some stuff go. Let some stuff go, girl. I'm so stingy with fabric. So again, I'm going to try to go in between 1/8 and 1/4. Right there. Put that in the trash. I'm going between 1/8 and 1/4 again, and I'm going to line up with the bottom edge so I'm square. This is the part where I got the zipper, and it sometimes doesn't want to get down that far, so we'll come back with scissors. And then on the bottom, I'm going to go out like a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to cut where that opening is. And then I'm going to go back and cut in between the 1/8 and the other part at the other parts. And then I'll scissor cut the rest. All right, put this up so we don't have any mishaps. Put this ruler up. My arm is hurting. Like it don't want to hold anything. All right, so we've got our papers, fabric cutter scissors here. So this is when I got the zipper open right in the middle. The ruler doesn't quite lay so flat there, so it doesn't like to cut. So I just use my scissors and trim it off. Because we can use our scissors anyway. And then here, I'm going to go up where I want my 1/4 inch to my 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch to stop. My 3/16. And then I'm going to cut this. So I have just a slightly bigger seam allowance right there. So just a slightly bigger seam allowance, because if I had just 1/8 or 1/4, it would be hard to tell it where you want it to flip. I didn't cut my iron on, but I'll use my little wood press. I'll pull it back to my stitch lines and give it a little memory press. And the other thing that I do is I'll keep the interfacing, because technically I'm only sewing the 2 lining pieces together. This part here from the front of the bag, I'm going to trim that away too, because technically it's already closed. So I'm going to trim that. It's already sewed closed. So do that. And then I just want to give it a little memory. All right, I'm going to clip these corners off, and I'm going to thin a little bit more too to the edges. I learned that on the last one, well, with the cord, because it was really thick. So cut it off, don't cut the stitching, and then I like to thin it down just a little bit. Cut the corner, thin it down. So I have very little seam allowance. Those are what my corners look like. All right, now we're going to go through that opening. This is the challenging part. Ooh, I got stuff everywhere. Hold on. Ugh. I think we're done with scissors. You gotta pull everything through. My nail got caught on something. Okay. So we're gonna pull everything through. I just go through one of the bottom corners. I just poke it through on itself. I don't care if it's perfect yet. I just want the corner to come out. And then go get another corner. Just start with one of the bottoms. And then go get the other one. All right. And then go down here and get the corner on the other side. Whoops, just trying to poke it through. They could leave a bigger opening. Ooh-wee. right, so I got a metallic thread here popping out, and I've got a thread here. We'll get that. Okay, then I'm going to use a bone folder and press my corners out over here too, all the way around. I find tapering those corners get them out a little bit better with all the stuff, the batting, all the layers of fabric. It just does a better job. And then at this point, I just like to hit it a little bit with an iron. I try not to put it on, I put it on high just to heat it up. I'm going to put it on medium because I feel like this interfacing is going to shrink a little bit. So just in case, I don't want to have it up on high. So now I'm just pressing in my opening just so I know where it's at, and trying to just get the bag to lay a little bit flatter. Not perfect, because we're not going to have it inside out, but just to give it a little bit. And then I need my bag again for the bag making supplies. I no longer hand stitch the inside of my bags. I take a little bit of stitch Richtery and I close the opening up. If they can work on clothes, it should be able to handle a bag with no major stress. I mean, it's a lining. So that's what I've been closing my bags with recently. So I'm going to put this on here, get some clips to hold it in place until I get to it, because I don't want this stitch witchery to move. So that's what I closed them up with now. Use some clips to temporarily hold it. And right there, last clip. And then I go press that. Hole is closed. I'm going to let that heat up again. I got a few strings I want to get rid of, because I can't stand strings. And then we'll heat this for 10 seconds once I get another full heated iron, because we're going through so many layers. Looks like it's ready. I don't have it on high to get a steam, but I don't want to mess with that. I may have to put it on high for this. I was trying not to, I guess the cork took it because it wasn't as many layers. But yeah, I've tried this on like the last 5 bags. But I used tearaway stabilizer, so I was trying not to use a hot iron, but I'm gonna have to. The cork didn't need it, I guess, because it wasn't that many layers. But this has been working fine. Just using stitch Richtery. Dorothy's reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up button. Thank you. Hi, Rhonda Barlow. Thank you, Mary, saying so pretty. trying to get it so I can get some steam because it works better with steam. Now it's steaming, so it'll work now. It needs steam. It won't steam on medium. It says it will, but it didn't. But it's steaming now. All right. Let it cool just a little bit. I have to remember to put stuff up. Embroidery stuff. I don't even know where the scissors are now. They're right here. Like, put the stuff up because I know I'm not sewing anymore tonight. All right, now. Oh, I need those scissors again. This is not tearaway, so I got to cut this mesh out so I can open the zipper. Because this is not tearaway. So I got to get into a spot without tearing anything up. And then I like to make sure, look in there and see first. So that's my last step. And then we flip out. And then I do press again. Okay, so we're in there now. And we're just going to cut this as close as we can to the fabric. You don't want to cut the fabric. So, you know, quilting, a quilted bag takes a little bit more. You know, if this was tearaway, I could have just tore this out, but you can't use you could use tearaway and you can pull the tearaway out, but that's going to be a whole nother issue. So a quilted bag is something to think about, you know, if you're going to make it, because it's a few extra steps than just making a bag and a hoop. You got a lot more things to consider. The unlined one went really quick, but, you know, I'm just trying to get this out of here without cutting my fabric. Maybe I need to cut the other way. I am so left-handed. I want to pull on the interfacing, lift it up. I don't care if a little bit shows because nobody looks under the zipper. I just don't want to cut the fabric. And I'll show you what it looks like just in case. You know, people don't show you this type of stuff in the videos, and so you don't know what it looks like. So that's what the back of your bag looks like. And then you go ahead and finish opening it up and flip these corners out. And then again, you want to use your pokey tool of your choice and get your corners all the way out. So I don't worry about getting them out. I'm just trying to get it flipped at this point, knowing everything's going in the right direction. Now I can get my tool, go in here and push. Yeah, these corners with the tapers already look better than the other one. Yeah, taper your corners when you're using multiple layers with quilted fabric. I did it with the cork. I didn't do it on the first one. I just cut across the corners like they told me. And I had a 1/4 inch seam. This time I had a smaller seam too, by 1/8 of an inch. And then I just like to, again, I'm not trying to get rid of my fabric. I'm going to go back down on my heat, go to medium, because I don't want my metallic thread to disappear. I just want to come back in here and just press it down. And then what I also did, you all saw when I came in here, I had it under this stack of stuff here. I was weighing them down so that they're not so puffy. Just weighing them down. And watch out for your zipper. You don't want to melt it. So I'm not on my zipper. I just want to give it a little memory, because all I'm going to do is stack everything right back on it. And it'll be just as flat as the other stuff I have. Do this one. But they so pretty with the prints. Okay, I don't have a pull on it, but this is what we ended up with. This tag is more centered than the one that's on the cork bag. So I just might have had one label that was kind of bigger than the other. It's not perfect, but I didn't have to do it on a sewing machine. That's the main thing. I don't care if it's perfect at this point. It saved me from having to do more prep work over here, because that's normally what I do with my bags, is I do a lot of prep work over here. Especially for those embroidery designs that don't have you top stitch on your pockets. Like on the wallet that I did. They don't have you do any top stitching on the hoop. So I did it on my own. The pattern doesn't tell you to do that. But just gorgeous. Just love them, love them. And I got 3. I'm giving, these are going to be, well, I'll keep one. I don't know which one yet. I'm keeping one, and then I'm going to, the other ones probably will be gifts. My mom loves stuff like this, so my mom will probably get this one with the apple on it. So my mom will get this one. We'll see where the other ones go. But yay! Yay! Like Jersey, she celebrates everything. I think we should celebrate too. Thank you, everybody, saying the bag is so pretty. So yeah, love the colorful bag, beautiful bag, lovely. So yeah, so that's it for today. I've already cut that machine off. All I gotta do is put my stack back here that I moved so that we could do our little lesson today. And I just have everything stacked right here so that they get some weight. And that is it. As I said, I do love Anita Good Designs embroidery. They never have that hoop go over where your zipper is going to be. So I like that. So that part didn't stress me out. It's been a couple of times I've had patterns where it go right over the zipper when they tell you to put it in the center. And you talk about stress levels rising. Only thing I had here, and I think it was because I pulled in those files together, so it went to the top stitch of the next file. But if I had just stitched one file, like when I put the front and then I pulled in the line bag, which they tell you to do, it automatically took me up to the top. And because of where I'm sitting, my hoop was extended all the way back here where I couldn't get it off. So I learned to give it a -1 to put it back into the center, or the last space that it stitched. It'll put it back to that spot. And then you can continue on. You can just put a +1 when you're ready to start back up, and it'll go back and start. So I love the bags. I just wish they had cut sizes for each bag. Since there's 10 different bags, that's a lot of figuring out I gotta do. And then as I'm doing stuff, I need to write those measurements in the book or something, because yeah, I'm gonna forget when I come back a year from now and say I want to make a bag or something. So, but I enjoyed it. What do you all think about in the hoop? Who has done in the hoop? Bonita talking about my birthday is in December. You got your birthday gift already. You can, Bonita. I'm like, where did this birthday come from? Girl, you too funny. Good night, Ray. Good night, Paula. Good night, Betty. And Paula talking about mine is next month. I guess so. That is too funny. Y'all something else. So I'm I'm trying to figure out, and I haven't committed yet, but I'm trying to figure out, well, what I need to do is make, I try to make something for my family, but I don't know if I'm going to have time, because I've just realized, and the lady did confirm, that I need to make another t-shirt quilt. But there are 2 other people in my family that I need to make a wallet for that got wallets last year, or they got a wallet or something else last year. And then I went and gave them, I think my sister-in-law, she got her Christmas gift early because they were going out of town and I wanted her to have it. So I went and made her wallet later. But they may not be getting none from me for Christmas this year. It just depends. This has been a rough, busy year for me, and I just can't believe, where I'm at, and all the things that have happened, and all the things that I've had to do and got to do. So it's just been a little bit difficult for me this year. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. I'm gonna go fix me something to eat, because I am starving, and I don't I got all kind of options, but I don't know if I feel like cooking, you know what I mean? So I will see you all Saturday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do have Teaquilts Scrap Quilting Club Saturday morning, so I have another busy day. So I'll be working on t-shirt quilt Thursday and Friday, trying to get t-shirts cut and stabilized, hopefully. So I will see you all then. You all stay blessed. Be safe, everyone, and quilt out.